Well, hey guys, it's Jane at Tupelo Kid, and I want to go ahead and make some progress here on this project. I think we're going to be able to get it finished in this video. I did do some preparation with the the base cards, like the the matting, so that we would have that done. And essentially, also what I did was picked out colors that I liked for this. I wanted to use a little bit different color format than the other one. Here's the one that I made, and this one. So we did this one in blue. This one I want to do in just kind of a nice little coral color, and then of course I'm going to glue this to here. This is the actual card that we had to start with, and then I'm going to mat it on this dark kind of a chocolate brown color, and then I thought that would look good with that. And then this is kind of a craft, and the card itself will be this nice kind of a coral peachy color, and the sequins that go in there have those colors to it as well. So I think that will look that'll look really good. So that's what we're going to go with, and I'm excited about that. So we're going to let this sit aside for the moment, and this can sit aside. This can as well. We do need to get this all put together. This needs to be cut out of here and mounted, then this needs to be mounted on here. So essentially I just need to cut that out. Now for me, I'm not good with a craft knife. I don't know if I'm the only one. I see people use them all the time, and I'm like, they're so good with them, and I'm just not. So anyway, I don't use them. Get a little drink there. It's morning, so I haven't been up that long. Actually, it's not really early morning. Now I'm just going to cut this out on the line. Hopefully you can see me. It's daytime here and everything. Again, this is forgiving, so we don't have to have perfection, which I love about this project. And I just need to go down this straight line. I intend to stay up late, and then I end up getting up later. But I have to keep moving this morning. We have to take the CEO in for another vet visit at 1 o'clock. Now that may sound like, well, that's probably far off. It's 10:30 here, but it's we have to leave at noon in order to get there by 1. So we have to keep rolling. Okay, so essentially that's it. Now I'm going to trim it up some here and make it look a little bit nicer, because my little cardstock isn't going through there like that, and it's going to go through there like that. So that's a real tight fit at this point. So I'm going to just kind of trim it up just a little to get like where the pencil areas are marked and stuff, and I need it to move around just a little so that the papers line up perfectly, which they just about do at this point, so we're pretty close. Now this one, I didn't do this on the other one, but I might do this on this one, just because I'm kind of curious how it would look if it give more of a vintage feel, and that is to do a little bit of distressing on the edges a little. That might look kind of neat, so I think I might give that a try, because this colors of this one really would lend itself to like a little vintage photo or something like that. So I might grab my and have my hand over where I'm cutting. That helps for you guys, doesn't it? Okay, so that's trimmed up pretty nice. Now I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to get a little bit of, let's see, we got some vintage photo. Okay, and we'll do a little work there. So I hope you guys had a good weekend. Now when you're doing this, just make sure that you start on your craft mat or your paper or somewhere else besides right on your paper that you're wanting to distress. Because if you start right on the paper that you want to distress, you'll have the circles like this instead of a nice edge. So just kind of keep that in mind. I'm sure many of you already know that, but I always kind of take into consideration that I probably have some new people watching. So I want to make sure that all levels of crafters can make this project when we're done. So I hope you guys had a good weekend. We did. I was trying to think of what we did. We actually didn't go out much. We didn't go out like up to the brewery or anything because of, watching over Tupelo and stuff. We don't want to leave him at home by himself for, we usually gone up there for 3 or 4 hours and we don't want to leave him by himself for that long. So we didn't do that. And they would let us bring him there. We could take him there. But if we did, it's a concrete floor. It's an old machine shed place where where they have this, it's bar set up. And you can see right where they brew all the beer and everything. It's all right there. So he's welcome there. Everybody knows him. Just like you guys all know him. They all know him and everything. But it's a concrete floor. And I know we could get blankets to put down, but it would take quite a few, and I'm just worried like that, the chill of the concrete would get through and make him too cold and things like that. So he's better off at home in his comfy bed where he can sleep real well, because there's constantly new people coming into that place. Doors open and someone else walks in. So I'm going to get this nice and vintaged up here. Okay, now I'm also going to do the inside. My pad is brand new, so it's like not wanting to carry much ink at a time. So we had to meet at 7:50, 10 to 8 in the morning, Sunday morning at the vet's office for him. And that was hard because there was the time change on top of it. So it was like we left home at 10 to 7. So we left home at 6:50. But it was like leaving at 5:50, because of the time change. So, yes, it was a little bit challenging. Tupelo, are you out there? Come on in, baby. Crying. Don't cry outside the door. Okay, Tupelo's in here with us now. You probably heard me talking about him and wanted me to stop. Quit talking about me. Quit telling him everything. Okay. Now we have that looking pretty vintage. And I think we don't really need to worry about the brown level, but I do want to do a little bit on this, this one right here. And not a lot, but just a little. So yeah, we stayed in Saturday night, and I had my friend over to craft Saturday, which you guys know because I recorded Saturday. So she came over, and we chatted. She stayed until like almost 7 o'clock at night, and we just like chatted away. And she came over like 12:30, and we just really enjoy chatting and crafting, and we have a really good time together. So I enjoyed that a lot, especially since I felt like I was pretty housebound, and but I don't leave the house a lot anyway. I don't, unless it's for something like going to these vet appointments, because I don't really drive much anymore. It's just I have too many medications in me, so I don't really do much driving. Mike does it all, so I just don't really go that much. Okay, so that one is, you can see, hopefully is kind of edged up just a little bit, and then that'll give it all a really nice look. And this is going to be behind here. Now, we don't want this against here unless we want it to look like lemonade with chocolate in it. So that's not the look we're going for, so we're going to need to cut this out. And the way we're going to do that is, we don't really need this piece either. Basically, we're going to center where it's at on there, and we're going to just cut out. We don't have to cut out anything neat. We just need to cut out some space. So we kind of fix our matting on here, how it's going to end up falling out, and I'm going to get my pencil, and I'm going to make some marks kind of roughly where it's at. That's where the bottom is at. That's where the top is at. That's where that side is. That's where that side is. So it's really pretty simple. You just kind of, again, very forgiving, poke a hole in here. This is thick cardstock. I forget what brand this is, but it is. I think it's my favorite things. That's what I've been using. My morning drink that gets me woke up. It's from Nutrisystem. I tried doing Nutrisystem for a while, and I really didn't have much luck. I did the Fast 5, and it was a Fast 10. Boy, that was like Starvation City. And so I did that, and then I'm just kind of cutting where I can see those lines. So yeah, I did that, and then I went to the program that's like the regular program where you lose like a pound or two a week or whatever, and all what my body did once I went off of that Fast 5 was start gaining weight back again, so it really didn't work. Okay, so the only place I'm like looking through here, and I can see a little brown at the top, so I'm going to just trim that out of there. Now my whole little thing's falling apart. I'm going to trim this out up here. Yeah, let me make sure I have the top and the bottom right, how it should be. Here, just use this like this. Yeah, I need to cut that. Now, let me make sure. It's a lot of fitting, that I will say. Just a little across the top. And then we should be fine there. And now I'm going to start doing a little bit of getting things assembled and layered and all that kind of stuff. So let me see how this sheet, these are lining up. I want to make sure that these all line up perfectly. And so what I'm going to do is go ahead and glue them together. And if there's any little edges that are not fine, I will trim them off. So, and I like using this glue. If you don't have it, keep your eye out for it in the store. It's going to eventually come back in stock. The distributor just simply does not have it, and I don't know when they're going to get it back in. It doesn't come from the normal distributor, and so it's a different distributor that's not near as big. The normal distributor is huge, and so they get product in pretty fast and all that, but this is from a little bit smaller distributor. Okay. I'll go ahead and place this on here. And the reason I wanted to use wet glue is because I wanted to have the ability to move this around a little bit and work with it. And that way I can do any trimming or anything I need to do. Like down here there's a little bit of white showing, and I want to get that off of there. Let's just trim that white off. And it takes some pretty fine, pretty fine scissors. Get this off the bottom here too. Okay, I think there's a little bit right there. I think we're okay. I think there's a tiny bit right there, but I'm wondering if it's going to show. No, it's not. It's not. Okay, and one thing I did notice with my other one is, like, how the vellum is popping out of here, and you want to put a little spot of glue to hold it down, but your vellum shows like everything. You still can put little spots of glue down. Oh, that has that glue dot on it, so that's not going anywhere. I will get this, and it's amazing. It doesn't really become, and when it dries, it just kind of looks like part of the blurriness of the water, because what you do is you put like a couple little dots, and you don't want to glue it down too tight because you want your sequins to be able to get to the front once in a while too. So like I'm just putting down a couple little dots and that's it, because like I said, you want the sequins to get all over. So yeah, but kind of smear the glue on the vellum so it's not just dots, and it won't be a problem for you at all, especially once the sequins get in there. Just kind of smear it and you'll have this. You can see it right now, but you won't see it, and you can hardly see it now. You see that I put it right there and there. But when the sequins get in there and start bouncing all around, you won't notice that at all. So you'll be fine. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is put this in here. like that. And then our sequins are going to go in there, and then our brown backing. So I'm going to go ahead at this point, and see, I don't need to pull adhesive off here, so I'm good to go there. Now I'm going to go ahead and get my sequins, and I have a little bag that I keep my sequins in from Birchbox. My little drinky drink. Okay, now I have been using the Mint Owl sequins. They're so beautiful, and they are in the store. Here's some of what they look like. They're so gorgeous. I mean, I can't even tell you. And here, that's not the ones I've been using. I have like all of them. So I think they're just gorgeous. Here's the one I used for this, was that one right there. But yeah, they're really beautiful sequin mixes, and I just love them. The girl who owns Mint Owl, we have her product in the store now, and her name is Tracy, and she's a young girl who is extremely talented. So yeah, really, I've gotten to know her pretty well. She's a sweet, sweetheart, and I'm just really glad to be able to have her products, because this is new for her. This whole store thing is a new venture for her. Okay, I'm probably going to put about that much in there, maybe a little more. And I have a few left for another project, and I used a lot, about that much, in the other one of these that I made, and this is the biggest size of this, so that is, you get pretty much use out of them. Okay, now this I have to cut right here because I have my my twine going across there. Boy, it's real. These are really sticky. There we go. Okay, so now that's ready, and now we just have to put our brown backing on, and I'll have to do it this way. It's a little tricky to do, and I'm going to, let's see, you know what, I did that with, when I did it last time, I did it with the wet glue and the wet glue, and then of course the sticky part. So I'm going to go ahead and put some wet glue on, and then I have a chance at moving it around a little bit, because that's what I want to do. Just put that on there, and I'm going to put a little bit on here, because that will calm that super stickiness, and it'll still dry, you know, nice, and it'll be dry as firm as can be, but it gives you a chance to move things around and not have it be so crazy, because you can't see where you're edging at. Let's see if I can get this where I want it. It's still pretty sticky. I have that lined up. I'm using kind of the grid on there. I'm holding it up so I can see. I think I got it just where I want it to be. Okay, and then I'm going to take this one and put it on top, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use the wet glue, and that way I'll be able to, again, move it around. Now this one's going to be the one that traps in the sequins. So you don't want to put glue where the sequins are going to be. So you kind of have to be careful as to how far in you go. So kind of move that way. Make sure that we don't end up having the sequins glued there. So I'm going to do the same thing here, and then we're going to flip it over like this, and here now we're going to be able to move everything around how we want to move it around, and that way we have a perfect fit. All right, my brown. And then we're going to get the tan. Oops, a few little sequins came rolling out. Get them back in there. This looks like a hot mess, but it's going to be fine, I promise. I just have a little leakage going on right here. You're probably going, oh yeah, that looks like a lot of fun. Actually, what I should have done is the brown and the black one, the brown and the tan one, I should have gone ahead and glued them together first and then put them down all at the same time. That's what I should have done. I just want to get that moved around so that, there we go. And these sequins I'll just put back in my little baggie so I can save them for another project. And let me make sure that I have that glued down good. I want to put a little bit more along these edges. Yeah, that's what, if you're doing this, instead of having a mess like I made, just glue the back, these, like the brown and the tan, you would want to have glued those together first already. And then it would have been much easier when you go to put them on here. And if there's any places you see that need an extra touch-up of glue, just put it in there, and then when you glue it down, you'll be in good shape. And that glue dries quick. And you guys, I'm sure, all have like a favorite glue that you like using. Yeah, that's all nice and tight. Okay, we're good on our corners here. There's a spot right here where we could use a little bit of glue. My Tupelo. Okay. So we got that. And then we're going to take one of our lemons and we're going to put it right in here. And I found when I cut it, I thought that it was going to be like a 3/4 out of it kind of cut. And that's how I started. And then it turned out to be just like a little bit more. So, you know, I kind of went like, okay, I'll cut right here and leave 3/4 of it there. Like that. That was how I started, and I thought, oh, I'll be able to just kind of put it right on there like that, but that doesn't really, as you can see, that really doesn't work. So you have to cut into it a little bit more. So you need to have it go at a little bit more of an angle here and down, and then let's see, it goes back in like that and down. And I think what I did, I just kept playing with it until I got it, and then it worked. But even if, like, for instance, your cuts, if you make yourself some extra lemons like that, then you'll be okay, because you'll have you know, some extra ones to play with if you need it. So that should work for you. And see, I don't like the way this one looks. I cut part of that out of there, so I'm going to take this lemon like that. And I know this is a smaller lemon. I actually kind of like that. And go like this. See how this one does for me. Yeah, that's the cut you need right there. So you just kind of make a little jagged cut that fits there. And now a lemon usually never fits perfect on a jar. It just hangs there. So again, just do the best you can with it, and it'll look really nice, and it'll look very authentic, and you'll be fine. I kind of like the smaller one up there rather than the bigger one. Save your little lemon up there. And now we're going to do our sentiment. And I have this little die that was from the blueprints.